Hi everybody, I'm DJ Foster, joined by Grand Valley State head football coach Matt Mitchell as the Lakers prepare to travel to Columbus, Ohio, to take on Ohio Dominican this Saturday afternoon at a 12:30 p.m. start. Mitch, a 36-28 win over Southwest Baptist last Thursday night in your home opener. You had a 36-7 lead, and then they scored a couple late touchdowns to make the margin closer. Looking over the film last few days, this past week, what did you see that you liked and didn't like?
Well, I think the first things that stuck out that we didn't like were penalties. You know, we had 12 total penalties, way too many, and I would say the thing probably most disappointing is 9 of those 12 were pre or post snap, and that's just completely unacceptable. So I think we got the message about that and, you know, the negative effects that had on us. Secondly, you can't turn the ball over on offense. You know, we had one of our running backs fumble. We threw 2 picks, but the ball was on the ground a couple other times too by some of our skill players, and that has got to get cleaned up. So, you know, we give up some points there, and it was really a result of all 3 phases of the game. You know, we defensively gave up some plays. They were running some seam routes down the middle on us. We didn't do a very good job defending those. Offensively, we weren't putting together the drives like we were the first 3 quarters. Right. And then special teams, you know, we rip a big kickoff return and put ourselves in a position to probably get another score, and we got a holding penalty that brings that back. So there was some, you know, there's some spurts in there. I would say after the first drive, defensively, we played some really great defense. You know, we played great defense for the rest of the first, the second, most of the third. But it's a 60-minute ball game, you know, on that side of the ball. And offensively, I think there's some bright spots. You know, we had a lot of new guys playing, quarterback, some running backs, some wide receivers, new lineup, offensive line. There was some quality football in there, but there was also some times where it wasn't. So I think the biggest thing is we've just got to get more consistency. I think that you saw flashes of the potential in all 3 phases of the ball, and you saw some individual flashes, but it's got to be more consistent, and it's got to be at a championship level for a full 4 quarters.
Not that you want to overanalyze it, but Bart Williams made his first start at quarterback, the sophomore, making his first career start. What did you think of his outing? Well,
you know, given kind of the expectations and everything for playing a quarterback at Grand Valley, I thought he handled those well in terms of his preparation. He came in and, you know, I think it was probably a big help to him to get off to a great start by having, you know, the big touchdown catch to Brandon Bean. And, you know, for the most part, for a first-time starter going out there, he gave us a chance to win the football game, you know. Did he play perfect? No. He's not quite there yet, and I think we all understand this building, including himself, that it's a progress. You know, it's progress over perfection, and he's going to continue to progress and get better. But I think you saw at times, like I said, flashes of why we think he's got a chance to be, you know, our starter and be a guy that can help this team lead itself, you know, to win games. And I think that was pretty evident as good times as other times. He didn't play so well. We got to get those, you know, out of the equation.
Ohio Dominican this Saturday. They got the best of you the last couple of years. You go on the road back to their place. Tough time there 2 years ago. What do you see from them? They had a real easy win in their first week. What do you see from Ohio Dominican on tape, especially?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're solid on all 3 phases, you know, and then that obviously plays out when you look last year. They advanced further than any team in our league in the playoffs, and they got down to Pueblo, but you know, had a great game with the eventual national champion. So they're competitive on a national level, and they're good at all 3 phases. Like I said, offensively, they have a senior tailback that's about as good as any tailback in this league, and he gets the line of scrimmage. He can be a home run threat, and we've seen that. You know, last year we were able to bottle things up for a good portion of time, but he broke off a huge touchdown run on us, and he gets in the back end of defense. It's scary. It's scary because of speed and elusiveness that he can take, you know, something 70, 80 yards for a touchdown. That's happened, you know. And so defensively, they're so experienced, so many veterans, both at all 3 levels of their defense. When you look at their D-line, linebackers, secondary, a lot of guys play a lot of football, and they're very comfortable on the football field. They're a great tackling defense. They play great team defense together. And then, you know, they do great on special teams. That's been the biggest problem probably the past couple of years. You know, we had a chance here at home. We gave up a block punt for a touchdown. And last year, you know, it wasn't just last year. 2 years ago, went down there and gave up kickoff return to punt return for a touchdown. So Des Stewart's a very explosive punt returner. He had one last week against Malone. Got one of the best kickers in the nation, you know, so their special teams are excellent too. So it's a very balanced football team. It's not like they're lopsided one way or the other, and that's when you start talking about playoff football teams, and they've won playoff games in the past. That's what you need, and so we have, you know, it's going to be a big challenge heading down there at their home field.
I was going to ask you about the special teams. Obviously, they've had some big plays over the last couple of years, and you have had more of a concerted effort on the coaching side of things on the special teams. What do you have to do? How do you try and stop some of those big plays?
Yeah, well, I think first of all we got to put our best players on those teams, and I'm not always sure that was the case a couple of years ago. I've referenced that we probably had a coaching mistake, and we didn't have enough of our best players out there. So this is a game that's a very important game for us in 2015. They all are, but especially, you know, this one coming up Saturday. So I've got a lot of our best players are going to be on all the special teams, and it'll be a situation where we got to play our best guys, and they know that, and they're all in on the special teams. So you see Matt Judon's going to be, on the punt team, and I've got Alton Voss is going to be playing DJ Hogan, like some of our best defensive linemen, all the linebackers, secondary guys, wide receivers, they're all chipping in. And they understand that that's been a really deficient area, and it arguably could have cost us the game last year. So they're all in, and we've had a good week of practice and preparation that we've really been hitting that pretty hard this week.
Last thing, a simple question: what are going to be the keys to the game this weekend?
Well, I think first of all, defensively, we can't give up explosive plays. We've got to, with the running game, with a new quarterback, we got to keep the ball in front of them, inside of us, and really make them earn everything they get. And offensively, we have to find a way. We got to find a way to run the ball. When you're on the road, you got to be able to run the ball. And we struggled with that last year at home. Everybody saw that against their defense. They really didn't lose a whole lot of people. So you have to examine our lineup, their lineup, kind of take a look at what is the best way to get the ball rushed. And so that'll be a big key. We got to get. When you're on the road, you got to run the ball, and you got to be able to stop the run. And so. Rushing statistics at the end of this game, and obviously all the other ones I talk about, penalties, turnovers, explosive plays, but the rushing statistics will be a pretty good indicator for both teams who's going to fare well better on Saturday. It's
a matchup of top 25 teams this weekend in Columbus, Ohio, as Grand Valley State travels to Ohio Dominican for a 12:30 p.m. start this Saturday. Mitch, thanks for your time and best of luck this weekend.
All right, thank you.